Most people think winning in sports betting includes you picking the right team, picking the right player, or even luck. But what if I told you none of that is important and you're all wrong? The real secret to sports betting and profitability in the long term is positive value. What is positive value? Now, in order for me to explain this in incredible detail, I'd need to use an example for you guys. So let's say you're using a coin, okay? So a coin has heads or tails. That's 50% chance of you getting heads, 50% chance of you getting tails. So let's say a bookie gives you a price. So they give you that if you stake 100 Rand, they're going to give you 200 Rand back if you get heads, okay? So that's 50% probability. If you put it in 100 Rand, you're going to get 200 Rand back. Would you take this bet? Yes, of course. Why? Because it is positive value. And the positive value just means that over time, if you take this bet over and over and over and over again, if you take this bet 100 of times, 50 times, mathematically, it's proven. There's so many articles out there that prove that if you take this bet 100 times, the value is going to come to you. So I know maths is not the easiest, but just stay with me here. So basically, this is how we calculate probability. Okay, there's a 50% chance you win that 200 Rand. Okay, so your return. But then there's also a 50% chance you lose your 100 Rand that you staked. Okay, but if we calculate this in your expected return, this is long-term profitability. If you're looking 1 week, of course this won't work, because maths always needs volume. Okay, in the long term, okay, if you take this bet over and over again, you're going to be profitable no matter what. Okay, and your profit will be the 50 Rand. Okay, because the probability, the expected return, 50%, this is the formula. And this is how profitable professional sports bettors use it. This is how wealthy investors, this is how they get their money back, positive value. This is how traders get their money back. This is maths. Same way you wouldn't argue that 1 + 1 = 2. There shouldn't be a reason why you should argue that this is positive value. But how does this go hand in hand with sports betting, and how do bookies make sure that you don't win by using the inverse of this? So as I've explained, professional sports bettors make sure that they don't chase teams, they don't chase players, they chase positive value. But then we are talking about multi-million-dollar companies here. We're talking about companies that have thousands of people that are employed and rely on them to have bread, rely on them to take care of their families, take care of their children, okay? Bookies like Betway, bookies like Bet365, these bookies need to make sure that at the end of the day, they make money. Because these bookies are not charities. People think these bookies are charities, that these bonuses are for you. No, they're actually there to make more money. So I'm going to explain how these bookies, even though sometimes people may win, even though sometimes people may say, oh, I want this amount of money, and then they post, and then these bookies even make money when you are winning. And how do they do that? This is through negative value, okay? Just the inverse of positive value. What I explained to you, they just do the inverse. So they eat away at your value. They eat away at your juice. So let's use math again to prove this theory, okay? And we're gonna use the exact same formula, but now we're gonna use real life examples, okay? So let's say Betway gives you 1.8 odds, okay? As you can see that if you put in 100 Rand, you're gonna get 80 Rand back. So, but let's say that the probability of this outcome occurring is 50%. That's very hard to calculate in a real life example, because it's very hard to get a 50% probability. But then let's say that the real probability is 50%. And 1.8 odds is not 80%, it's not 50%, okay? So let's say 50% times the 80 you were supposed to win. So that's the amount of money you're going to win back, plus the 50 times negative 100. So the money that you lose, 50% of the times you're going to lose 100 Rand, but 50% of the times you're going to win 80 Rand. Just looking at that, you can see that, oh, I'm not making money here, because 50% times I lose my 100 Rand, but 50% of the times I win 80 Rand. You're already losing 20 Rand there. But if we calculate that, you're losing 10 Rand, okay? Because it's going to be 40 minus the 50, okay? Stay with me here. I know it's getting a little bit complicated. But this is what you need to understand. This is the only thing you need to this is the only thing you need to understand. That if so, let's use the example of Nottingham Forest, okay, versus Man United. And the odds for Nottingham Forest to let's use a market where there's only two outcomes that might occur, okay? So let's use draw no bet or a +0 handicap. So Nottingham Forest has 1.66 odds at Betway, and then Man United has 2.19 odds. So if we translate these to probability, because odds are just a direct reflection of what probability should be. Same way that when we use the coin, if you put in 100 Rand and then you get 200 Rand back, that's the price the bookie is giving you for the probability to occur. Nottingham Forest's probability to occur is 60, Nottingham Forest's probability to win draw no bet is 60.2%. So of course the probability is on their side. That's why the odds are lower by them. And then Man United has 45.7% of them winning. As you can already see, this is over 100% because there should only be 100% of the outcome occurring, or 99.999%. But when you calculate this equals 105.9%. And how does that happen? That 5.9% is the bookies' juice, okay? That's the money that they are winning. That's the money that even though you win, even though anyone wins, that's the juice. That's how they make their money. Even if you win day in, day out, that's how they're gonna make money. And that's how they're eating at your value. Because if you try and calculate this, there is no way you're gonna get positive value in a bet where they have juice. So there's no way, if your outcome is over 100%, there's no way you're getting positive value out of that bet. If they are getting juice, you are losing value. So it's not positive value. And in the long term, you're not gonna be making money, okay? Unless you're a genie and, you're using insider trading, you're not going to be profitable. So now that you know that the only way to being profitable is positive value and using positive expected value, how do you find the positive expected value bets? Because as you can see, most of these, this is how they make their money. Most of these bets you're going to see are the ones where they have juice, where you have negative value. And I'm going to share a quick tip for you. Most of these big games, most of these Premier League, Champions League, all of these big leagues that everyone's focused on and everyone bets on, they're going to have negative value because that's where they get their money. That's where, because John and because Tabo like sports betting on the leagues that they watch, they're going to put negative value there. And they know that they won't look at the value. Once they see, oh, bonus, if you add more teams and you add more, then you're going to get a bonus. They're just going to see that and they're just going to, add more bets. And they're not going to look at the mathematical models and the math values behind it. So I'm going to teach you how you find these positive expected value bets, okay? So one is to compare odds across all bookmakers, okay? So this will require you to have more than one account, okay? Two is use probability versus the odds analysis, okay? So if you're very informed in sports, okay, maybe there's this league you're very informed in, maybe there's a sport you're very informed in, and you think the bookies always misprice them, okay, and the odds are not a direct reflection of the probability, that's where there's a misprice, okay? So let's say you think that a handball game of women in Norway or in Spain, that the home team has 80% chance of winning, and then the bookies give you 3 odds. That's already value because 3 odds does not equal 80%, So that's already you seeing positive value. That's you with your knowledge seeing that, okay, this is not a direct reflection. This is not a direct reflection of the probability, okay? And this is, of course, much harder to do because now you're competing against the company. You're telling the company, oh no, even though you have millions of dollars, even though you have, thousands of workers, you got the price wrong, okay? And that's very hard for you to do. And unless you have extreme knowledge or you're extremely knowledgeable on that sport or in that region, I don't recommend you do this. But then the third thing and the best way I think you should find positive value bets is use betting models, whether that's AI, whether that's statistics. That's how I find my positive value bets, okay? And the best way is to use AI because AI never lies to you. AI is programmed. Okay, same way a calculator never lies to you. AI will find you Okay, and this is where you don't have to break your head. You don't have to scour through the internet. You don't have to compare. Now you're going to different bookies and you're looking at this price and this price, and now you're not finding any positive value. This way is AI is going to alert you. AI is going to tell you when, okay, here's a positive value bet, you should take it. And this is how I do it. Okay, I'm going to send. This are screenshots of me. This is an AI. These is a program bot that tells me when there's positive value. They tell me what the price is supposed to be and what the price is now. And how do they do that? If you guys want a direct teaching on how these AIs do this and how I find positive value, then I want you to comment down below, and also click the first link in the description. It'll direct you to a sales funnel where I teach people how to do positive value sports betting and how to be profitable in the long term. And if you're not profitable in the first month, we give you your money back, guaranteed risk-free. Okay, so that's the video for today. Why positive value is the only way for you to be profitable. The math